Hello guys, welcome to Careerist. Welcome to lesson number 1. Welcome to QA manual program. Today we're going to talk about QA, about quality assurance, about software testing. We're going to talk about the industry. We're going to talk about the salaries. We're going to talk about what we actually do at work. And of course, we're going to show you how we can help you get those jobs as soon as possible. And of course, we're going to answer your questions. Just please bear with us. Listen carefully. Most of the questions going to be answered during the lesson. In case you're still going to have questions in the end, I promise that we will stay and answer all of your questions, okay? But most of the answers you're just going to find during the slides, during the presentation. Just in case you're going to have more questions, we're going to answer all those, I promise. So guys, let me introduce myself. My name is Max Glubochansky. I'm the co-founder at Careerist, and I have more than 10 years of experience working as software QA engineer for different companies like Apple, Intel, and many others. You can see more about my experience and background on LinkedIn. Also, please meet Careerist, hopefully your career partner. We are a leading career training platform pioneered by industry experts to maximize the students' hiring opportunities. And whenever we say industry experts, what we actually mean by that is that our teachers, our instructors are the best of the best. QA leads, QA managers, software QA engineers, software development engineers and test that come here from the best companies in the world like Google, Apple, Facebook, Intel, Reddit, Bank of America, and many others to share their experience and knowledge with you guys, help you get your maximum possible rate in minimum possible time without wasting your time, without wasting your effort, and of course to make sure that you will avoid the mistakes that most people are doing in that industry during the job search, mistakes that even we had in the beginning of our career, and we want to make sure that you will avoid those. We are supported by more than 300 career staff, which allows us to help and support you much more than anyone else ever before. That's why we see fantastic results. That's why our graduates are working in more than 1,000 companies in already 40 states, and we are very proud of it. Our graduates are landing high-paying jobs in record time. Whenever we say high-paying jobs, we mean that the salaries, the range is usually between 65 to 100K salaries for a full-time job, or $33 to $50 per hour if it's a contract job. Of course, exceptions happen. Some will get 60K, some will get 110K, but most of you are going to see the 65 to 100K, while the average is around between $80 to $85,000. That's the average salary that you guys gonna see. That's regarding the average. And let's talk now about the job search. The job search usually it used to take between 2 to 4 months, but recently it seems that the market is slowing down a little bit. That's why now we talk about 2 to 6 month job search. Traditionally, for the past years, many years, it was between 2 to 4 month job search. Now, considering the slowdown on the market, it could be potentially longer. That's why we definitely want to be very transparent with you, and that's exactly the reason why we updated the time for job search from 2 to 4 to 2 to 6 months, at least for now. I'm sure that it's going to be 2 to 4 like always, but just because we see certain slowdown, we updated that. Now, of course, our mission is to provide access to high demand, high paying careers in tech. And now let's talk about QA. It's not Q&A, it's not questions and answers. It's actually QA, stands for quality assurance. And the purpose of QA, the main idea is to make sure that everything works, looks, and feels good. And I will give you an example. Okay, let's imagine a website like careers.com or google.com or any other website, or a mobile application, like any mobile application, any mobile app, like, I don't know, dating app, food delivery app, car sharing app, just flashlight application, okay? Any application. In both cases, the mobile application and the web application, someone designed it, then someone created those applications based on the design. That's usually something that the developers are doing. And whenever they implemented the design, we, QA people, quality assurance people, testers, we come to double check, to verify that whatever was created is based on the requirements, is based on the specs, is based on the design, is based on what is supposed to be there. Okay, and whenever we see a mismatch between actual and expected behavior, we call it a bug, we call it an issue, we call it a problem. And whenever we find those bugs, whenever we find those problems, we report those problems to the developers. The developers are supposed to fix those problems because that's their job. And after they're going to fix the problem, hopefully, they're going to send it back to us to double check, to verify that the issue was fixed and no longer reproducible on the new version. So we basically do two things. One is we find and report the problem. And two, we double check that after the problem was fixed by the developer, it is actually fixed and no longer reproducible. Okay, so we don't need to fix problems, we just need to report problems and later double check that they are not longer reproducible. So the job is very simple, it's very straightforward. If you were worried about a complicated job, a sophisticated job, something that requires engineering or programming languages, no, that's not one of those. This job is very straightforward, it's very simple, and the problem is not doing the job. So don't worry about doing the job. The problem is getting the job with maximum possible rate in minimum possible time, without wasting your time, without wasting your effort. And we, of course, are going to help you fix that problem because we definitely know how. So software testing, or QA, prevents errors and defects that we also call issues or bugs in software by continuously testing the product and reporting the issues. So let's talk about us. Actually, let's talk about you. Is this training for you? So first of all, you need to be looking for a new and better career. In this case, you're in the right place. You need to have English. People should understand you. You should understand others. It's okay if you have an accent. That's totally fine. As long as people can understand you and you can understand others, you're going to be all right and you'll be able to work in this industry. You're going to be ready to accept 65 to 100K because that's pretty much the range that you're going to see very soon. Of course, you're going to have sometimes companies that are going to offer you less. You're just going to tell them to never call you again because that's how you're going to get more, and we're going to teach you how not to get less. Also, please keep in mind that the job search is between 2 to 6 months. On average, we see 2 to 4 months, but just in case, we decided to show the job search potentially could take longer. I don't see any reason for you not to get a job in 2 to 4 months, but potentially be ready that it could be slightly longer than usual. Of course, you need to be authorized to work in the US in case that you're located in the US. In case that you're located in Canada, you need to be authorized to work in Canada. In case that you're located in Europe or Africa, you need to be authorized to work in those countries. Please keep in mind that the salaries that we talk about here, the 65 to 100K salaries, are relevant for North America only for US and Canada. For those that live in other countries, be ready to get 6-7 times less, which could be a great salary in many places. For example, I know that in Europe, in manual QA, you can make between $800 to around $2,000, for example. Okay, so it's completely different than the US, because in the US, you can make 6 to $9,000 per month before taxes. So just a reminder for those that are outside of US, you also welcome to learn with us, of course. You also gonna find a job in QA in your area. Just keep in mind that the salaries that we discuss here are for US only and Canada. What you don't need any specialized equipment. You don't need to have any technical background. You don't need any computer science degree. You don't need any programming or coding skills. When we say specialized equipment, it means that as long as you have a laptop or a computer and you can watch the lesson and you can hear us and you can see us, that's good enough. Once you're going to get the job at the companies, they're going to send you the devices, the laptop, the mobile devices, if necessary, to your home address. So you don't need to buy anything, pricey. You don't need to buy something expensive for the equipment, because once you're going to get the job, it will be sent to you. And for the lessons, for the internship, you just need a computer, a laptop, any gonna be all right. So let's go and talk more about the technical background. So 95% of our graduates don't have any technical background. Like most of our instructors and teachers before we got into the best companies in the world, we didn't have any technical background as well, most of us. And you guys, most of you don't have any technical background as well. And you will be able to get this job in 2 to 6 months job search. Of course, if you do have a technical background, that's awesome. And it means that you're going to get the job even faster in most of the cases. But those that don't have technical background, don't worry. You are the majority, and you're going to also get the job if you're just going to follow the instructions. When I say instructions, I mean that you're going to be attending the lesson, joining the internship, being in touch with your mentor during the mentorship, doing the resume and LinkedIn together with your mentor, and just follow the instructions, being active during your job search. That's what we mean by instructions. Okay, something very straightforward. So let's talk about QA salaries. This is basically a number that I will double check right now because it changes pretty much every month, every week, but the numbers are around certain numbers. They just, around those ranges, and I will show you my screen right now, and we're gonna look into the salaries. So one of my favorite sites is Glassdoor. It shows you average salaries in the US for different professions. So whenever we search for software QA engineer, and guys, after this program, you're going to become software QA engineers in your resume, in your LinkedIn. That's the jobs that you're going to apply for. But not only, you're going to apply for multiple different titles and jobs, because we have different titles, different jobs that talk about the same. The most popular are software QA engineer, QA analyst, QA tester, and a couple dozen of other titles that I'm going to show you in our next slides. But just to illustrate the average salary, guys, software QA engineer in the US, average salary $89,000. The range $73,000 to $110,000. But to show more accurate picture, we're going to change the experience to 0 to 1, which is basically junior kind of experience, less than 1 year of experience. That's what you're going to have in your resume after finishing the internship. You're going to have 3.5 weeks of the internship, and you actually can be part of the internship until you get the job. So basically during the 3, 4, 5 months of your job search, you can basically get this experience and remain part of the internship. So let me just see really quick. When I change the 0 to 1 years, the average salary shows $78,000. The range is 64 to 95, and that's pretty much the range that we see as well. Remember, I told you 65 to 100K. This is the range. And remember, I told you that the average is around $85,000. As you can see, it's very similar here as well. So guys, that's the range. Some people gonna call it software QA engineer, some others gonna call it QA analyst. You see the range and the average gonna be very, very similar, okay? So just keep in mind that we have different titles, different names for same type of job. If you want to see demand for the job, just go to dice.com or LinkedIn Jobs or Glassdoor or Indeed, and you will see thousands and thousands of positions. Just search for software QA engineer. Let's see, software QA engineer. Let's go to Chicago, okay, 6,000 something positions. Let's go to, I don't know, Atlanta, okay. Of course, you're going to have more in New York, in San Francisco, LA, San Diego. Just any big city, you will find thousands and thousands of positions. Not any, but most of the big cities, you're going to see a lot of opportunities. Does it mean that all those opportunities are going to fit to you? No, some of them are going to be more senior, some of them are going to be not relevant, some of them are going to ask you for more skills, more tools, more automation, more programming, more experience, more this, more that. But you will see that 80% are going to ask you for more, but whenever they offer you less than 100K, someone who knows automation, someone who knows programming, someone who has a lot of experience will not talk to anyone for less than $110,000. But those companies often offer you 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100K. So basically they ask you for a lot, but eventually they hire manual QA like you, just because someone who knows a lot will not work for less than $110,000. So just wanted you to be aware of it, that many companies going to ask for more and you're still going to apply there, and some of them going to tell you no, and then you're going to see, boom, you got the job. Once you just apply, prepare, and following the instructions. Now let's get back to our presentation and let's talk about we already discussed the salaries, and now let's talk about the benefits of QA jobs. So first of all, it's very easy to learn. You don't need any computer science degree. You don't need any programming skills. The compensation is great. 70, 80, 90, 100K after a short program. Definitely amazing. It's one of the happiest jobs in the US. That's basically an article that I read on Forbes about the happiest jobs, where I found out about QA, and I'm very happy about it. It's usually often has great work-life balance. That's one of the reasons. It's one of the happiest jobs. It's definitely the quickest way to a job in tech. It's sort of a shortcut into our world. And as you just saw, there are many QA job openings, a lot of opportunities, and you can work remotely. Most of our graduates, more than 60% now, are working remotely, which is awesome. You save your time, you save your effort, you save your gas, you spend more time with your loved ones, or you travel more. Definitely amazing. You're also going to have opportunities for career growth. And let's talk about that. Usually when you start, and by the way, I just want to remind those of you that are in the chat, it's live. Of course, you will get a video recording after the lesson. In case that you came in the middle, you will get the video recording to your emails. Tomorrow you're going to see that. If not, you can always double check your, if you don't see it in the inbox folder, you can check your spam folder or promotions folder. It's going to be there. In case that you will not find it, you can always email advisors@careers.com. And yes, it's of course live. Just please bear with us. Hold the questions to the end. I promise most of the questions is going to disappear just because we're going to answer them very soon. And the rest of the questions we can answer at the end. I promise you that. So guys, when you just enter this industry, enter this world, and you learn QA, the theory, the terminology, you are junior, okay? And once you get your first job or your first practice internship, project, however you're going to call it. You start to practice what you learned. You actually attend meetings, you write bug reports, you're executing test cases. Sometimes you write test cases, you use different tools, you test different platforms, different devices. You can tell about your project, about your team, what you did at work and stuff like that. At that point, you can already apply not only for junior QA positions, but also to mid-level QA positions. Which usually not called mid-level, they're just called regular positions like software QA engineer or QA analyst or QA tester or many other titles that I'm gonna show you soon. So basically, when you have this on-hand experience that you're gonna have, of course, after our internship, you will be able to apply to both junior QA and mid-level QA positions. Both of them gonna offer you 65 to 100K salaries. Of course, you're going to have exceptions. Of course, you're going to have someone going to offer you 25 per hour or 30 per hour, but you will see that it's an exception and that someone who actually knows what he's doing will never talk to anyone for less than 35, 40 per hour. Okay, cool. So many people enjoy this manual QA level and they make the 70 to 100K and they love their job and they love what they're doing and they do it for many, many years and they're happy. So this is one option. But for those that want to grow, for those that want to make more than 110K, in this case, you have usually traditionally two paths. Of course, I want you to remember that you can become whoever you want. But if you ask me traditional paths for career growth in QA, I will tell you. We have usually two. One is to become more technical, to learn programming language like Python, to learn algorithms, to learn tools for automation, basically what we do with our hands, to do with a script, to do with the code. It's more complicated, it's more sophisticated. And if you compare manual QA to QA automation, manual QA, it's like elementary school, and QA automation, it's like master's degree. Everyone can do manual QA. QA automation is more challenging. I don't think that everyone can do it. I think that you will need more dedication, focus, and motivation to learn it. But if you really want, you can do it. Just please keep in mind that it's going to be more complicated. Once you learn automation and you understand automation, you can make between $110,000 to $170,000. Now, please keep in mind that first thing first, you want to get the manual QA job, you want to make the 70 to 100K, and only after working there for a month or 2 or 3 and you feel confident at what you're doing at work, only then it's going to be a great idea to give QA automation a chance and give it a try and do your best to learn it and understand it and to do it. But just keep in mind that first you want to get the manual QA job. A very popular mistake is not to focus on getting the job in manual QA first and try to learn everything. It's gonna be a big mistake, so just don't do it. Focus on getting the job in manual QA first and think about QA automation as something that you will come to learn right after you got a job, after a month or 2 or 3, whenever you feel comfortable. So in case that you're not technical, in case that you don't like coding, it happens. You have also opportunity for career growth. It's called going into leadership. You can become a QA lead, a QA manager, a QA director. You will have more responsibilities. You will have more meetings, but with more responsibilities, you can make also more compensation. So remember I told you we have different titles? Yes, it could be QA analyst, QA tester, software QA engineer, manual QA, software quality engineer, quality assurance analyst, software quality assurance analyst, functional QA, black box tester, manual QA analyst. And it's not ends here. You see, the next slide gonna show you more names, more titles. So we have different titles, but we do same type of job. How I know? Because our graduates getting different titles. And if you go to my LinkedIn, you will see I had different titles in different companies, and I was doing exactly the same type of job. Okay, so the titles, they just have different names for same type of job in most of the cases. Of course, you will have sometimes software QA engineer that will require automation and they will actually need it. Okay, but you also going to have a lot of software QA engineers that will not need automation and they will need just manual QA like you, and you will see it very soon. So to tell you a little bit more about the QA training from Careerist, first of all, you're going to have convenient online sessions like one now. It's going to be in Zoom, maybe in other platforms in the future, where you will be able to watch the lesson, you will be able to ask your questions, you will be able to get your answers, you will be able to watch it live, or you will be able to watch the video recording anytime that works best for you. The lesson is going to be with industry experts. You will get practical trainings. You will get an internship that I'm going to talk about very soon. We're going to have a mentorship after that. During the mentorship, you will get help with your preparation for the interview, with the resume, with the LinkedIn, with the assistance and support during the job search, references once you get the job, and much, much more. I will tell you much more very soon. I just want to remind you that today is lesson number 1. So you can still join. In case that you already joined, thank you. You don't need to do it twice. Those of you that still didn't, you have the chance to do it. You can see that your contract button below. It will be here. During the lesson. You still can join the program. All you need to do is just click the your contract button and choose the option that works best for you. Very soon, I will tell you much more about our details, about the prices, about everything. So, guys, let me tell you a little bit more about the instructors. First of all, we have Patrick Siebenthal with over 6 years of experience working at Facebook, Google, Intel. We have Lana Levinson, senior software developer in test with over 10 years of experience working at Reddit. We have Ignacio Britos, QA manager with over 14 years of experience working at McAfee and many other companies. We have Brandon Coley, software QA engineer at Beachbody. We have Justin Bailey. You're going to meet him. You're going to teach the second part of the lesson. And then I'm going to join you again together with Justin answering your questions. Justin is lead software developer in test at Pioneer with over 7 years of experience in QA. We have Alex Vastovich, QA manager with over 9 years of experience. We have Vitaly Yerokhin, QA automation engineer with over 12 years of experience working at Indeed. We have Sofia Tsapchuk with over 10 years of experience, QA manager at Ring Central. We have Yuri Sokolov, QA lead at Google with over 10 years of experience. He's also the head of our manual QA program. We have Hezron Padlan with over 12 years of experience working at Google, AT&T, and Bank of America. We have Natalia Zahur, QA manager. We both have worked with Natalia at Intel and also at Apple. We have Michael Porkansky, QA engineer, working at Indeed. Maria Navarrete with over 14 years of experience working at Xerox and Dell Tech Systems. And our graduates are working for the world's most innovative companies like Uber, Apple, Facebook, Slack, Amazon, Samsung, Groupon. Just name a company, you're going to have our graduates working there most likely, because it's already more than 1,000 companies in 40 states. Big names like AT&T, Google, Salesforce, CBS, Chase, Boeing, Visa, Intel, Verizon, Walt Disney, Snapchat, Dell, Nike, Oracle, Instagram. Just, we don't have enough time to mention all of the names, all of the companies. We are very proud of our graduates. And I want to tell you that it's not only tech companies, because sometimes tech companies, for example, have layoffs, for example, and you can see maybe on news that a certain tech company laid off a certain amount of people. But the beauty in QA is that you don't necessarily need only to work in tech companies. You can work in any company that has a website or a mobile application, and it doesn't need to be tech company. For example, it could be companies in finance, it could be banks, it could be sports, it could be media, it could be transportation, it could be travel, it could be telecom, and another 24 different industries, I'm sure that more, where you will find QA people testing and making sure that requirements implemented and that users are getting the best possible user experience. And that's the success map of Careers that we are very proud of, where our graduates are currently working. Just to remind you, now you have more opportunities than ever before, because most of our graduates are working remotely. So it doesn't matter where you live. Even if you live in Wyoming or Montana or South Dakota, you always can get a job in New York, LA, San Francisco, Miami, wherever you prefer, because you have a lot of opportunities for remote jobs. Overall, on this map, anywhere you can get 70 to 80K, 35 to 40 per hour. But remember, I told you that you can get up to 100K, up to 50 per hour. Yes, you can, of course, in cities like New York, New Jersey, Chicago, Seattle, San Jose, San Francisco, LA, San Diego. Definitely you can get up to 50 per hour, up to 100K, and sometimes even more. But also exceptions happen. For example, most of our graduates getting 70 to 80,000 in Florida, in Georgia, in Texas. But we also have graduates that getting there more, like 90, like 100. So it's definitely possible, and it's not only 70, 80,000 in those states. You can also get more if you prepared well and sound confident. So guys, what we actually do at work, let me show you what we do. I will share my screen with you, because right now some of you not really sure what kind of job it is and why it's being paid 35 to 50 per hour. So let me show you my screen and we can look into what we do at work. So guys, let's just go to a website, okay? This is just an example of a website. I just scroll it. It's an e-commerce website where you can buy different clothes. You can add them to your favorite. You can zoom in. You can compare them. You can leave them a review. You can basically see and add to your cart different clothes. It's just a demo website, right? Just an example. So first thing first, remember I told you that the most important part is to make sure that everything works good. So that's what we do. We go to the website, we make sure that it loads. If it's a mobile app, we make sure that the application loads and it doesn't crash. If it works, great. It's already passed the functionality test, and we can move forward for the next, and we can test basically the different buttons, because we want to test the functionality. This is the most important part, that it works as expected. So for example, we have this logo here, and we click it. It's supposed to take us to the home page. It seems that this is the home page, so seems like an expected behavior. You have a card here. If you open it, it opens something that looks like a card. Maybe you will agree with me that it doesn't look like a card, but just for our example, because we just practiced, it opens something with the name card. Let's assume that it was a card and it passed the functionality test. If it will not open, it will be a functional issue, but it works and we can move forward. We have here the search functionality. So if we search something, it's supposed to type something and maybe find something, but we don't have time to dive deep into it. We just want to see the big picture, and you better understand now what functionality means, right? That the links, the buttons take you to the appropriate links, that the cart opens the cart, that the search opens the search, that the logo banner takes you to the relevant page. That's what we call functionality. Another example going to be if we come here and we want to click the Shop Now button. Oh no, nothing happens. You know why? Because it's a functional issue. It's supposed to take me to the Shop Now page, right? But it doesn't. This is a functional issue. This is a problem that we definitely want to report. How we do that, I will show you very soon how we report the problems. Another example of functional issue is, for example, if you have a drop-down menu, you click it, it's supposed to drop down the menu. If you click the drop up, it's supposed to drop up. If you, for example, choose this Highlander and you go to the page, it's supposed to open the page of the Highlander. If you want to go to the gallery, you click the gallery, it opens the gallery. That means that functionality works correctly. The gallery, if you open the image, it's supposed to open the image. If you close the image, it's supposed to close the image. If you go right, it's supposed to go right. If you go left, it's supposed to go left. That's what we mean by functionality. Now let's move into the next level. Once we finish testing the functionality, this is the most important part, we go and test the UI, how things look. UI stands for user interface, or also known as GUI, graphic user interface. And basically, we want to make sure that everything looks nice. For example, this model on the right, I don't know if you noticed, but her face is covered. It's like overlapped by this panel, or you can call it truncated or cut off, but definitely something is weird here. We ideally want to compare to the design document how it's supposed to look like, but sometimes we don't really have access to this design document and we just need to use common sense. So in this case, we used common sense. We saw that it looks weird, it looks strange, and we definitely want to double check it with the product manager and the designer. So we want to report that problem as well. This is a UI problem, a user interface problem. Another example of something being overlapped is going to be this guy on the right. If you bring the mouse to him, you see that he moves to the left, hiding the letter N, which basically is overlapping. Whenever one element hides another element, it could be a picture that hides a picture, or a picture that hides a text, or a picture that hides a button, or a button that hides a text. Anything that hides something, we call it overlapping. And here it's definitely a good example. Another good example of UI issue is whenever you have you see the check boxes on the left? You see that they don't appear on the same line. It's called misalignment. You see this field here and this field, they are misaligned to each other. So this is also an example of misalignment. It looks weird, it looks strange, it looks against the UI standards. Now, let's get back and let's talk about another UI issue that we call inconsistency. So for example, you see this model, when I bring the mouse over here, it changed the background to blue, right? Keeping the same picture. If you go to the next one, it's going to be the same, right? Same behavior. But if you go to the third picture, you will see something different. Boom. You see it changed the picture. Here it's not, here it changed. It's a problem. We definitely want to report it. I will give you an example how we report the problem. So let's just go to this demo page. Okay, this is just an example page. And on that page, there's a lot of issues here, but let's just pick one. You see here, this part on the left, it's basically an icon for high salaries and demand. The icon over here, it's missing. It's not there. It's not found. It's great. That's a problem that we definitely want to report. So the problem is that high salaries and demand icon is missing. First thing first, you don't need to do it now. I just want to tell you how we do it. So if you have a MacBook, you want to create a screenshot using Command Shift 4, you just choose the area that you want to select, and boom, it's already saved on your desktop. If you don't have MacBook, it's okay. You don't need to buy a MacBook. You can do the same on your Windows machine. All you need is to click the Start button, search for snipping tool, snipping with double P. You're gonna find it, and it will allow you to create screenshot exactly like I just did on the MacBook. Of course, you can do screenshots also on your Android and iOS. It's also definitely possible and simple when you do it on your devices, on your mobile devices. So just as an example, we created the screenshot of the area that we found the problem with, right? The missing icon, because here you see the icons, here you don't. It's missing, and it's definitely a problem that we want to report. It's a UI problem, right? A user interface problem that we don't see the picture. So how we do it? We go to the most popular bug tracking system in the world. It's called Jira. And you don't need to install it. Don't worry. Once you join the program, you will get access to a Jira. It will be in your browser. And in Jira, you can basically create bug reports. All you need to know right now is just this create button. You click it. I show you again. This is Jira. You come, you click the create button. It opens the bug report. First thing first, project name. We're going to call it demo because we practice. At work, you're going to have a project name, and that's what you're going to put there. The issue type is bug report because that's what we do as QA people. We write bug reports. We don't really do something else. We most of the time creating bug reports, and of course we're verifying the bug fixes after it was fixed. So issue type, bug report. Then we're going to have the title, the summary that should be short and informative and should show everyone what and where is the problem. To remind you, the problem is that on the main page, let's call it the main page and copy this link, high salaries and demand icon is missing. This is the problem, and we can write it. Main page, high salaries and demand icon is missing. I just wanted to save your time, so I wrote it already in the title. Then we have description with steps to reproduce, actual and expected behavior. So steps, go to this link, which this one. You can just copy it, boom, and you write it. 2, observe high salaries and demand section. Actual icon is missing. Expected icon should be visible. Then we're going to have the priority, how important this problem to the business. So I think that because it's a main page and, you definitely want to create best possible impression on your main page. Most of the people are going to go and see the main page. So definitely you want to take care of it as soon as possible. Higher the priority, higher it's faster it's going to be addressed. Usually functional issues are more important, but on the main page, UI could be also something serious. Different companies approach prioritization in different ways. Some care about it, some don't care about it and focus only on functionality. You will feel it, you will understand it during the first weeks at work, how they care about how things look. Environment, it's where it was reproducible. Was it on your MacBook? Which device, which browser, which version? Was it on your Windows? Was it on your Android phone? Was it on your iOS device? Okay, it's just an example of different devices. You usually don't really need to think about the device. You just do what you're told. So if your manager told you, hey, you need to test those 3 devices, you're just going to be testing those 3 devices, and you don't need to decide by yourself which devices to test or not. In most cases, you just do something more simple and you do what you're told. Attachments, where you can add here the screenshot that we created on the desktop. You can add here a video recording. We're also going to talk about log files during the course that you also potentially could be attaching here. Assignee, who's going to take care of the problem? So I'm just going to choose my name, but at work, you're going to work with 1, 2, 3 different developers. One going to take care of web, one going to take care of mobile, one going to take care of front end, one going to take care of the back end. So basically, after a couple of weeks at work, you will know who takes care of what, and you will be able to assign it to the relevant person. Then, okay, so long story short, project name, issue type, bug report, title, which should be short and informative, should show everyone what and where is the problem, description with steps to reproduce, actual and expected behavior. You don't need PhD in English literature to write something like that. Priority, how important the problem to the business, environment, where it was reproducible, sometimes where it was not reproducible. For example, it was reproducible on one device and not reproducible on the other. It's also something that's going to be interesting to know for the developer. Attachment, assignee, and then you click the create button. Once you click it, boom, we just created our first bug report. You can share it with your team by just copying this link over here, or going here and copying it here. Okay, you just click it and it copies the link. This is the title, this is the description, this is the environment, this is the assignee, the report. You can attach more files, you can add comments. This is the environment. Okay, that's how it looks like. Was that complicated? Was that something that you need computer science degree for? I don't think so. I think it was very straightforward, very simple, and I think that anyone here can definitely do it. In case that you also feel like that, welcome to our world. That's something that was around for the past 20 plus years. Okay, it's not something new, but now you know about it. Welcome. That's what we do at work. Remember, I told you that the problem is not doing the job. I actually meant it. The problem is not doing the job. The problem is getting the job with maximum possible rate in minimum possible time, without wasting your time, without wasting your effort. That's the reason we created this program, to save your time and effort and help you get your high salary in tech as soon as possible. So guys, let's talk about the course. You get the lessons. Today's lesson number 1. It's going to be 7 weeks of the lessons, 3 days a week, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. The time going to be 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, which is 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's the time of the lessons. The lesson's going to be for 7 weeks, and I already see a bug because it seems that Thursday appears not like Thursday. So it's Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Guys, the lesson is going to be for 7 weeks. You can watch them live, or you can watch them anytime that works best for you. After the lessons, you'll be able to join the remote internship, which are going to be for 3.5 weeks. The first 1.5 week going to be internal project with us, with Careerist. We're going to prepare you for the external project with the partner company. Once you going to finish the 1.5 week, you will be able to join to the real project with our partner for at least 2 weeks, but you can remain part of this internship until you get the job during your job search. So if your job search is between 2 to 6 months, you can remain part of the internship for that period. After the 3.5 weeks of the internship, by the way, during the internship, you will test different platforms and devices. You'll write these cases. You will execute these cases. You'll write bug reports. You'll be able to tell about your project, about your team, about what you did at work, about the meetings that you attend. And after the 3.5 weeks of the internship, you will be able to join the mentorship, where you're going to have a personal mentor that will work with you one-on-one to make sure that you prepared well, that you sound good, that you're following instructions, that you know what you're talking about, that you're ready to get the job. And once the mentor makes sure that you sound good and prepared well, by the way, if you don't, the mentor will help you to improve, to sound better. It will help you to focus on where you want to prepare better. And once the mentor will confirm that you sound okay, you sound good, at that point, the mentor, of course, will help you with the resume, with the LinkedIn, with the instructions, with the support, and then you will be able to start your job search, which is going to take on average 2 to 4 months, but potentially could take longer, up to 6 months job search. Now, the mentorship is not only 4 weeks, it's actually going to be until you get the job. During your job search, it's going to be your mentor always going to be with you and will support you and will help you as long as you're going to be nice and friendly. Of course, the mentor will help you until the victory. So that's regarding the plan of the course. The curriculum, the schedule, basically we're going to teach you the basics of the theory, the terminology, the foundations, web and mobile testing, server communication, test environment, test cases, bug reports, preparation for the job market. We're going to teach you also advanced skills like, we're going to teach you how to write bug reports in Jira. We're going to teach you how to write test cases in TestRail, web and mobile testing, compatibility testing, testing different platforms and devices like iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, functional and UI testing, black box testing, API testing, Postman, Charles, SQL, Unix and ADB commands, tools like Xcode and Android Studio to install and uninstall applications, to create log files, Chrome DevTool, browser stack. We will teach you what you need to get, do, and keep the job, okay? We will teach you what you need, and we will not teach you what you don't need. We are here to save your time and effort, so we will focus you on what you really need. And if you don't find here something, it means that you will never need it in manual QA to get a job, or to keep the job, or to do the job. So that's how the course timeline looks like. The 7 weeks of the lessons, then the 3.5 weeks of the internship. After 3.5 weeks, that you can actually remain part of the internship for up to 6 months. After the 3.5 weeks, you will be able to start your mentorship already, and the mentorship on average until you prepared for the start of your job search is 4 to 6 weeks, depends on your English, on your confidence, on how well you prepared. Once we make sure that you start your job search, which is going to take approximately between 2 to 6 months, but on average we see it being 2 to 4 months usually. So also you're going to get our job application service during your job search. We will give you our service of job application service, which will allow you to gather the applications, the positions from different job boards in one place. It will save your time, it will save your effort, and it's also going to be something that we're going to provide you as part of the program. Let's talk about an email advisors@careerist.com. We would love to answer your questions. Also, a reminder about our Careerist guarantee. Because we are fully committed to your success, we now offer a 100% money back guarantee if you don't land the job in tech within 1 year of graduation. Refund eligibility requirements include, but not limited to, completing all training modules on time, submitting all projects and assignments by the deadline, following our job search instructions. Full details available on our website, careers.com. You will be able to find more information there about our guarantee. So guys, please reserve your seats and join us. This fun part starts here. Now you're gonna meet Justin Bailey with over 7 years of experience in software testing, lead software developer in test at Pioneer. Guys, just please keep in mind that if you're gonna have any questions for Justin for the part of the theory, terminology of the class, feel free to ask, and of course you will get your answers. But please keep the questions about the program, about the course, about the industry to the end. I promise you that I'm together with Justin going to answer all of your questions. All right, Justin, welcome. The class is all yours.
Thanks. Perfect. Can everybody see and hear me? See and hear. Thumbs up. Yes in the chat, please. If you can see and hear me. Perfect. I love the feedback. Yes, yes. Thumbs up. That means you're excited. So, as Mike mentioned, my name is Justin Bailey. I've been in the QA field for about 7+ years now. I do both automation and manual testing. So, like, my current position is lead software developer, engineer, and test, which is a fancy terminology for I do automation code to do test. So we have manual tests where you're actually clicking around manually doing a test, and then automation test where that same test, I'm writing code to do that test for me. So that's the two sides of testing. I'll dive deeper into it later on, but for right now, that's all you need to know. I've worked with startups, I've worked with big companies, small companies. I've been a consultant, I have full-time jobs. So I have a lot of experience in my 7+ years. So if you have any questions about that, later on towards the end of the class, we'll get to that. But for right now, just put it in the chat. We'll mark it down for you and take it from there. Also, my current job, I'm based out here in New York City. We have a hybrid job model where I'm 3 days working remotely from home. I work a couple hours a day and then chill with my friends and family. The other 2 days, I'm going into the office, but I don't mind it because it's New York City. It's the bright lights, the big city. The city that never sleeps. So I get the best of both worlds because my QA job gives me that ability. And once you join the field to get some experience, you can be completely remote. If you don't want to ever go back to an office again, that's up to you. But because you enter this field, take this next step with this course, you can have that leverage now for your future jobs. Does that sound good? Working from home, working remotely, being on vacation, different place, working. Like, for example, I'm going to Hawaii next month. I already told my boss, like, hey, I'll be on from this time to this time. My boss is like, okay, as long as you get your work done, that's all they care about. Every day I start my job with a daily meeting with my team members. We talk about what we did the previous day, what we plan to do today, and any like problems that we're having with our current like project. After that, we got a task for the day, and then we'll have to do whatever we want. So if I spend 2 hours or 20 hours on work for that day, that's up to me. I'm a lot more efficient now with my work. So I had 3 hour days where I finish everything in 3 hours and then I enjoy my day. Like I said, all that comes with experience and being in the field for a long time. So everyone good right now? Everyone following still? Anybody lost yet? Perfect. So this is one of the biggest questions that you should want to answer tonight. What is software quality assurance? Software quality assurance, or SQA, is the broad process of monitoring software development procedures to ensure quality. SQA is preventative. We're trying to catch problems before they happen. Because if we catch it as testers, it'll cost our company a couple of dollars to fix it. But if it goes all the way to deployment, the customers are using it, it's going to cost our company millions of dollars, especially the size of the bug. Let's say we have a banking application that we work for, and the bug is the wrong amount is getting deposited to people's accounts. Or let's say they're trying to withdraw money from an account and they get extra money back. If that problem isn't caught right away, and like let's say an hour goes by and people are getting thousands of dollars, and there's millions of customers that get that same problem or bug, our company go bankrupt. That's why our job is so important. I know people are asking like, hey, if the job is really that simple, why do we pay so much money? Yes, it is a simple job, but it's a needed necessity job, especially manual testing. A lot of companies can't afford automation testers, which is why I have both skill sets. Some companies say, well, we only have this budget. We only have an $80,000 budget. So I'm going to say, okay, cool. You're going to get manual testing then. As Max mentioned previously, if it's not more than 100K, you're not getting the coding skills from me because that's my price. So as I said, SQA is preventative. It analyzes the whole process of software development, which includes the requirements design, development, testing, release deployment, and maintenance. So what I just described there is the whole software development lifecycle. An idea is thought up, it's planned out, it's developed, it's tested, and then given to our customers. It's not possible to create an error-free software due to various factors and the overall complexity of software products. But an effective SQA process minimizes the number of bugs or problems to an acceptable level. Think about it. The biggest companies, whether it's Amazon, Apple, if you go to Instagram right now and use it on a daily basis, you'll find bugs. And they have the top of the top best developers. So they're paying these developers these premium prices, but yet bugs still exist. So imagine how lower quality developers are doing in other companies. So that's why our job is even more important, because we gotta catch their problems and bugs before our customers do. Is everybody following so far? Why our job is so important? It's a simple, straightforward job. We follow instructions. We listen to instructions, say, hey, do X, Y, and Z, test for this, this, and that. We document out testing. We say, okay, we found these problems, but these tests worked. We tell our team members, they fix it. Once it's fixed, give it back to our customers. Everybody's happy. So everybody's good, right? Everybody's still following? Perfect. So that was SQA, the whole process of having a quality product, quality market, everything good. Now let's talk about our job in particular, software testing. Software testing is a functional part of quality assurance that determines if the end result is what we expected. So let's say I put in $1 into the vending machine and press the soda. I expect a soda to come out. If a soda does not come out, that's the unexpected result. That's a bug. Simple. I will log that bug, tell my team members, hey, I expected a soda because I pressed the soda button, but no soda came out the vending machine. That's a problem. Software testers check the product against a predetermined set of requirements and detect bugs by inspecting and testing the application or a service under test. So as I mentioned, we're testing different software, websites, mobile applications. The world of testing spans very large. For certain companies, you may just do web testing. Other companies, they may have software testing, or they may have you do web today and then mobile tomorrow. That's why you have so many possibilities, so many paths for software testing. That's why it's so exciting. You can find what best fits your wants and needs and your interests. If you like video games, be a video game tester. That's why I get so excited talking about software testing, because no matter your interests and no matter what you like in today's world, there's software based around it. Every company, no matter what they do, has a software department where they need software to carry out their daily procedures. So let's say you like going to Starbucks. Starbucks has their own software department, software development department, software testing department. You could apply to work at Starbucks, but as a software tester or a software engineer tester. So the jobs out there for you, for your interests, could be a perfect match. Various methods and techniques are used to test the product, identify and report issues, and then check if they are fixed. Testing provides stakeholders the possibility to see if the developed product meets their expectations. So like I said previously, we're testing something, we're getting a documentation saying, test the website for the login functionality. Make sure if I put a valid username in and a valid password in, that I can successfully log in. If that works, everything is perfect. But if that doesn't work, I have to log a bug and document that today on June 11th, I found this problem with the login screen. I put this username in, this password in, it didn't work. I expected a successful login, but what I actually got was a error message or access denied. So very simple. We just test websites or software, document our testing, and then any problems, we tell team members, hey, I had this problem doing this test. Here's the documentation for it. If you have any questions, just let me know. We do that part. They get it back saying, okay, I see where I messed up that. The developer should have done this instead of that. The developer fixes it. They give it back to you to test. You test it, make sure it finally works now. Once it finally works and passes the quality check, we give it back to our customers. And that's the flow of how software or websites work. Everybody good still? Anybody lost yet? Yes, no, thumbs up. I'm very big on interaction, so I have to make sure you guys actually understand and everything. So yes, no, thumbs up, perfect. Because we have 100 plus people here, we have 5 thumbs up. So I need all you guys to stay engaged for this. Now let's talk about manual testing. This is what we're gonna do on a daily basis. Manual testing requires a tester, which is us, to play the role of an end user, which is a customer, to check the quality of the software and verify that all the features of the application are working correctly. So as software testers, we're testing from a customer's perspective. So we're actually clicking on a website. We're saying, okay, if I go to Nike.com and try to place an order, can I add this item to my cart? Okay, can I actually pay for this item? Once I pay for it, do I get a confirmation email? We're doing all about testing from an end user or customer perspective. Manual testers design test scenarios and execute them one by one before verifying the results. Any differences between the actual and desired results are treated as defects or bugs. Throughout this whole course, you're going to hear a lot of terminology used in the QA space, like defects and bugs and execution. So if you're ever lost about what is being said, just ask in the chat, like, hey, teacher, you said this word, or Justin, you said this word. What does this vocabulary word mean? And I'll explain it to you. There are no dumb questions in this course. You're investing in your future and your knowledge, so get the most out of it. Don't be scared to ask questions. A bug report is created by the tester and sent to the developer, who fixes them. The tester then retests the software to ensure that the defects have been fixed. So like I mentioned previously, we're doing our test cases, our test scenarios, we're doing step by step, but if something happens that we don't expect, we create a bug report for it, we document it, we give it to our developers, the developer fixes it, and then we test it again. Manual testers also participate in the maintenance stage after software has been released to the end customer by monitoring user feedback. So in regards to this last part, we don't directly monitor the user feedback. We have product owners and product managers who are checking in the app store saying, okay, we have our new application published. What's our review saying? Oh, we have 5 stars. We have a wonderful product. Or, oh, we have 1 star. What's going on? What problems are our users having? Oh, the application crashes every time you open it. That's a bug. We got to fix that. Let's relay that to our team so we can fix that right away. Is everybody good for manual testing? We get documentation, carry out tests. Any problems, we tell our team members. Everything else, if it works, it works. It passes our test. Are we good? We getting more thumbs up. Perfect. Like I said, it's 100 plus people here. I don't have 100 plus thumbs up. If you're lost, don't be scared to ask questions. There are no dumb questions here. Don't forget that. So once again, don't wait. The bottom left-hand corner. If you paid already, don't worry about this part. But if you didn't pay, here's your chance. If you don't want to pay the full price, here's your chance. If you want to pay the full price later on, if you have a lot of money, that's up to you. But me personally, I live in an expensive city. I like to save money as much as possible. So if I get a deal, I take advantage of it. Everybody good? And someone asked previously also, if you came late, don't worry about it. This is all being recorded. I'll be sent to you in the morning. We're going to process this video, send it to your email address. If you don't get it right away, check your spam folder. If 2 days go by and you don't get the recording, then email us. Everybody good? So previously I talked about manual testing, but now let's also talk about automation testing. Because like I said, me personally, I do both manual and automation testing. There's pros and cons to both. There's people who have been manual testers who I work with on a daily basis. They've been manual testers for 20 years. They make tons of money. They have no interest at all in being automation testers. So you don't have to be forced to be automation testers. You can make a lot of money just being a manual tester. So don't be pressured right away like, hey, I want more money, relax. If you want to just take it easy, have less stress, be a manual tester. But if you're interested about coding and stuff like that, then dive into automation and see if that's your interest. Worst case, you can try automation, say, yeah, it's not for me, and then go back to just being a regular manual tester. Nobody's going to say, oh, you quit. No, nothing like that. No. It's a very supportive community, the software testing community. Once you join it, you'll see that already. You'll see how helpful and engaging and encouraging it really is. So automated testing, which is test automation, is a testing technique that involves execution of test cases using special automated software tools. Automation testers convert the manual test cases into scripts. They also identify which test cases can be automated and are responsible for maintenance and monitoring. So like I said, I do automation. I have my manual tester write the regular manual test cases. And then from there, I say, okay, I'm going to automate this test case. I'm going to automate that test case. From there, I open up my software tool called Selenium. I map out web pages of software, write up code to do the test for me, and then execute the test cases. Pretty simple once you get experience in the field for it. But in order to do it, you need to know how to code and other things. So let's cover the pros and cons of automation testing. First, the pros. It saves time by running repetitive tests multiple times a day. It has faster test cycles, allowing testers to identify software errors much more quickly. It provides more accurate results by eliminating the possibility of human error. So we're all human. If I'm doing a manual test and I do it 100 times, because I'm a human person, I'm not perfect, there's a chance on time 96, I might mess up. I might cut a step. I might say, hey, the last few times I worked here, so I'm just going to skip this step. That's part of the human error process, though. With automation, when I write my script or code, it'll run the same test every single time. So it kind of eliminates the human error part. Also, as I mentioned, with automation testing, the tests run a lot faster. Let's say for the login process, it'll take a regular person 2 minutes. It'll take a regular person 2 minutes to run a test. You have to navigate to the website, type in a username, type in a password, press login, wait around. Okay, I logged in. For my automation test, the whole thing happens in about 10 seconds. So it's a much faster process. So those are some of the pros of automation testing. But nothing's perfect. There are also some cons. It requires specialized equipment. Like I said, I have to use a tool called Selenium to do UI automation testing. If I don't do for mobile devices, there's tools for that, Android Studio. If I want to do certain softwares, they each require special tools. I have to learn those special tools. I have to be good at them. So that's one of the cons. A regular person can't just come off the street and say, okay, I can do automation testing. No, it's a lot more learning involved for automation. Next, it usually requires a technical background. You have to be familiar with how software works. You have to say, okay, here's what coding is, here's how the front end acts, here's how the back end acts. And if you don't know anything about this, don't worry about it. We have special courses for automation testing. But like I said, if you want to be a manual tester for the next 20 years of your life, that's a perfectly good career. You'll make a lot of money and be happy. And the last con, like I said, is it usually requires a computer science degree or coding skills. In order to do automation, I have to know how to do Python or C# or Java. That's a requirement, minimum requirement. If I can't code and write programming languages, then I can't be an automation tester. So it's a lot harder barrier of entry to be an automation tester compared to a manual tester. Is everybody good for manual and automation testing? Just to emphasize, you'll be doing manual testing. This whole course is for manual testing. I want to make sure you guys are in the right place. This is the manual testing course. I started to introduce you to what automation testing is in case later on you want to say, automation sounds kind of cool. Maybe I want to dive into it later on. So I'm giving you this brief exposure now to say, maybe it's for me in the future, or maybe it's not for me in the future. But all you guys are good, right? You understand the differences? Manual testing, you're manually doing the test. Automation testing, I'm writing code to do the test for me. And a common question that I get is, well, if automation is so much faster, how come we just don't do automation testing for everything? First off, like we mentioned previously, it's a lot more expensive. If you want an hour of my manual testing time, it's one price. If you want an hour of my automation testing time, completely different price. A lot of companies, especially small companies, they can't afford that premium price, especially not this current moment. Next, the other reason is certain tests, if I'm running it just once or twice, it's better to be a manual test. Let's say for a login screen, for me to put my username, password in, press login, it'll take at most 2 minutes. If I do that same test, but let's say I do automation for it, I have to open up my automation tool. I have to map out the web page, all the elements on the web page. I have to say, okay, click this button, has this ID. I have to create each test step by step. Then I have to test the test to make sure that it actually works. That whole setup process may take an hour or two. So the initial setup for automation is more time consuming. So if it's a test that is going to be done 1 or 2 times, it's faster to say, hey, manually test this. But if it's a repetitive test, that's when automation testing is really beneficial. Everybody good still? Did I lose anybody with that? If it's a repetitive test, automation is better. If it's a one-time test, just manual test it. Okay, so now we're going to dive a little bit deeper. So if you get lost, just say it. There are over 50 different types. There are over 50 different subtypes of testing. But manual QA engineers focus primarily on just a few of them. Right now, if you go to google.com and say, hey, what are the different subtypes of software testing? You'll honestly get probably 100 plus. If you want to waste your precious time learning all 100 plus, more power to you. It'll be a waste of time. It'll be cool for trivia night, but besides that, certain testing types you're never going to do, so it doesn't make sense learning it. In this course, we're going to say focus on these testing types because in the interviews, they ask these testing types. In the actual job, you do these testing types. So we're helping you expedite your process by saying focus on this, this, and that. The rest of that you can learn in your free time if you're really bored one day. But for this course, focus on X, Y, and Z. Everybody good? Everybody loves their time not being wasted? So now let's talk about some subtypes of software testing. We have black box, white box, and gray box testing. First, let's talk about black box testing. In black box testing, the tester examines the functionality of an application without having access to the source code. As manual testers, this is what we do. And you might be saying, well, how come we don't need access to the source code? The source code is what the developers use to bring a website to life. That's what source code means. So you might be saying, well, how come we don't need access to the source code? Isn't that important? We're testing from the customer's perspective. As a customer, when I go to Nike.com or to Amazon, I don't say, okay, this website looks cool. I want to purchase something on this website. Let me check the source code. No customer realistically does that. They say, okay, I want to buy sneakers on Nike.com. Let me search for sneakers in a search bar. Let me find this sneaker here. Let me click on this sneaker in my size. Let me pay for this sneaker. Let me check my receipt. Okay, perfect. As customers, that's what we care about. What is shown on the front web page. We don't care about the background, what happens behind the scenes. We care about what's shown to us and the ease of flow for that process. So as black box testers, we don't care about the code. We care about, does the website function as expected? If I press this button to go to the next page, does it go to the next page? Yes or no? So that's black box testing. As manual testers, that's what we do. No access to the code. The opposite of that is white box testing. In white box testing, the tester designs additional tests based on the analysis of the source code. So in black box testing, we didn't care about the code. In white box testing, all that we care about is the code. And you might be saying, well, Justin, you said in this course, we don't need to know how to code. Yes, I wasn't lying to you about that. White box testing is done by developers. They create unit tests and integration tests to test their code to make sure that if they have a function in their code, it works as expected. So that's white box testing. They're testing their code directly to say, does my code work as expected? And that's done by developers. So black box testing, manual testers, no code access. White box testing, done by developers, all they care about is the code. Then we have gray box testing. Gray box testing is a combination of white box and black box testing. The aim is to search for defects or problems due to incorrect software architecture or improper use of the application. So gray box testing is kind of the best of both worlds, where you get some access to the code, but not all of it. This is usually what I do as an automation tester. If I'm writing code to test the website or the backend, and I'm like, well, this isn't working, I'm going to dive into the code base and say, okay, what's the developer trying to do here? I'm not reading all the code. I just care about certain pieces of the code for my problems. So gray box testers are usually automation developers or regular developers. Anybody lost yet? Yes. So black box is manual testing. No access to the code. We're testing from a customer's perspective. White box is done by developers. They're testing that, make sure their code works as expected. And then gray box is kind of a little of both, where I'm not going fully immersive into the code, but I'm peeking and I'm seeing under the hood, what's this doing in the background? Okay, it makes sense. Now, I'm a big guy for examples because I like to visualize certain things. So I like analogies. So my analogy for black box, white box, and gray box is going to restaurants. I like a lot of restaurants. So if I'm a customer at a restaurant, I sit down, I fold my napkin, I open up the menu and say, okay, waiter, can I please have the fish? As a customer, when I ask for the fish, I expect the fish to come out in a timely fashion. That's all that I do. I don't go back and make the fish myself. I don't go to the water and catch the fish myself. No, I don't worry about anything in the background. I just make a request to the waiter and then expect that request to be resolved, where within a timely fashion, I'll have fish on my plate. So that's black box testing. Remember, black box testing, you have no access to the code. You're a regular customer. Customers don't care about the background. They care about pressing a button and seeing the expected results. Is everybody cool for black box testing? You're a customer. You're ordering food and then the food's being brought to you. Nothing more. Don't overthink it. Then we have white box testers. This is the chef. The chef is actually in the back cooking it up, saying, okay, I'm putting this seasoning in, I'm frying this, I'm grilling this. They're checking to make sure that all their food tastes as expected. They have access to all the food and how it's being made. That's the white box tester. The developers have access to their code and how the code is being made. They're the chef. So that's the analogy. Black box, you're the customer, you're putting a request in and expecting a result. White box tester, that's the chef, he's cooking it up. That's the developer, they're making the food themselves. Now you might be asking, well, who's the gray box tester then? What's the analogy for that? That's the waiter. The waiter isn't actually making the food, but the waiter can go back there and see, okay, what's the chef doing? Okay, they're putting this seasoning in. My bad about that. So that's like, hey, what's the chef actually doing? They're putting this seasoning in. How are they making this? The waiter isn't making the food themselves, but they have access to see how the food is being made. So that's the gray box tester. Everybody good with the analogy and the example? Black box, manual testers, no access to the code. White box, done by developers, full access to the code. Gray box, done by automation or regular developers, and you get some access to the code. Thumbs up, yes, no. We have 100 students here, so I need at least 99 thumbs up. Now let's talk about a few more testing types. So then we have functional testing. You're testing what the software does based on its specifications. You're verifying how compliant it is with specified functional requirements. That's a whole bunch of cool buzzwords, but what does that actually mean? So we do functional testing as manual testers. We're getting requirements or things that customers expect, and we're testing to make sure that those requirements are being met. Where if a customer expects that they can add an item to their cart, we're going to test to make sure they can add an item to their cart. Simple, straightforward. Think of functional testing as yes or no testing. Does this function as expected? Yes or no? Simple. Next, we have non-functional testing. Testing of a software application for its non-functional requirements. How well the software functions rather than the specific behaviors. So functional testing, we're testing, does it work? Yes or no? Non-functional testing, well, how well does it work? It's more of like short answer or metrics or measuring how well does something work. Once again, I'm a big example guy. My example for this is functional testing. If I'm on Amazon's website and I search for laptops and press enter, do laptops come back? Yes or no? That's a functional test. Does it work? Yes or no? Non-functional testing, well, how well does it work? When I go to Amazon.com and search for laptops, how long do the results take to come back? Is it 2 seconds, 5 seconds? It's a measurement. It's not black and white, yes or no. It's a measurement. Is everybody good for functional and non-functional testing? As manual testers, we do functional testing. Does this function as expected? Yes or no? Simple, straightforward. Perfect, thumbs up, cool. Now let's talk about a few more. I promise it's not gonna be too many more for tonight. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. If you're already overwhelmed, watch the recording tomorrow. If you have any questions, don't be scared to ask. Like I said previously, you're investing in your future, in your education. Don't be scared to ask a question because you're paying for it. So ask away. Next, we have exploratory testing. Exploratory testing is an approach to software testing that focuses on discovery, learning, and investigation, and relies on creativity, experience, and intuition of the individual tester to quickly uncover defects or problems. It is often described as simultaneous test design and execution. So what does that mean? Exploratory testing, I'm a big example guy, like I keep saying. When I grew up, we had a show called Dora the Explorer. Dora, every episode, would just go around exploring the world. That's what we do as exploratory testers, where we're going to go and explore. We don't have that many requirements or documentation. We're going to manually say, okay, this website is supposed to handle financial transactions. I know from my previous examples, from my previous experience, that if I press this checkout button, that this action should happen. I'm going to manually explore the web page for the first time and say, okay, if I add this item to my cart, does the cart get updated? Because on other websites, that's how it works. So it should be the same for this website. Another example is every time I get a new phone, it comes with a nice little user guide. I never read that. I've had millions of phones. If I get a new phone, I'm going to say, okay, this is the power button. These are the applications. This app should do this app should do that. I'm going to explore my phone without proper documentation. And then once I explore it, I'll create documentation from there. So is anybody lost yet with exploratory testing? You're going to explore and be Dora the Explorer for exploratory testing. Next, we have smoke testing. So yes, this is lesson 1. I saw a question about that. This is lesson 1 for the course, don't worry. Next, we have smoke testing. Smoke testing covers the most important functionality of the software and verifies that the software appears to work correctly. It precedes or comes before actual in-depth testing and aims to verify that the build is deployed successfully, that all components are running and ready for the actual test process. Once again, a lot of cool buzzwords being thrown at you, but what does that mean? In smoke testing, you're testing that in a testing environment that the core functionality works. because if the core functionality doesn't work, then the new functionality definitely doesn't work. So to save our time and efforts, we're testing to make sure that the current build or the current test environment is actually working for the core functionality. And that's what smoke testing is. We're trying to smoke out any problems. Because if the core functionality doesn't work, everything else is going to be downhill from there. We shouldn't even waste time to say, well, maybe it's over here it works. No. If the core stuff doesn't work, nothing's going to work. Is everybody good for smoke testing? You're testing the core functionality. And then we have regression testing. Regression testing ensures that new changes and software do not break any existing functionalities. This type of testing verifies that features that used to work still work. A regression bug is a defect or a problem which did not exist in an earlier version of the product. So 3 times in a row, what does this mean? We're testing to make sure that if something worked yesterday and then we deployed a new functionality today, that what worked yesterday still works. For example, on Instagram, let's say they want to have a new video chat feature. Let's say the new video chat feature comes out and works, but then you do regression testing and you can't post pictures anymore. That's a problem. Before the video chat functionality, I could post pictures all the time. As a customer, I came to Instagram to post pictures. I didn't come for the video chat feature. So I don't care if your new feature works. If the core features don't work, I can't use your service or product. So regression testing, we're saying, okay, this new feature works, but does the old feature and functionalities also still work? Did we break something by creating this new functionality? Simple, straightforward. Anybody lost yet? Great. So once again, you guys should be excited. You're taking the first step in your new career, whether this is your first job or you're doing a career change. You should be excited. Within a year, you can make a lot of money, have a new career, have a new paycheck, salary. My favorite guy is back. But are you guys excited about this? Yes, no, thumbs up. And like I said, it's very straightforward, simple. Don't be overwhelmed about everything right now. We're going to teach you everything you need to know to pass an interview and get a job. That's our goal.
Awesome. So we're going to answer your questions now, and let's see what you got. Thank you very much, Justin. I'm sure you're going to stay with me together just in case that we're going to have more questions for you. I just want to remind you guys that in case that you're going to have personal questions, don't be shy. Email advisors@careers.com. From what I see as of now, the button that I just showed you in the section below, for some reason is not working. That's what we call bug. That's what we call an issue. To be very transparent with you, is the first time that it's not working for the past year. So it's actually an exception. But no worries, you can still email advisors@careers.com. Just tell them the option that works best for you. And now let me answer your questions. So guys, regarding the schedule for the internship and the mentorship, it's going to be super flexible. You can do it anytime that works best for you. So if you cannot do it in the morning, you can do it in the evening or during lunchtime or during weekends. Regarding the internship, regarding the mentorship, it's also going to be just a few times a week with your mentor, a few hours that you're gonna schedule together with your mentor that will work best for you. So don't worry, you can combine it with another job, you can combine it with another family, you can combine it with many kids, with everything you want. You will be able to do this program because it's super flexible. Now let's see. So that's regarding the time of the internship and the internship. what you're going to teach in API testing. We're going to teach you Postman. We're going to teach you the basics of API testing. It might appear in like 20-25% of the interviews, but if you want us to be very transparent, 95% of you will never need it at work in manual QA, but you're still going to see it in 20-25% of the interviews. That's the reason you want to prepare for it, and we're definitely going to prepare you for that. What does a coding background play with the field of QA? I've got some front end and back end experience, so I'm curious. So basically, if you have any technical background, usually companies going to kidnap you in a very good way. And if for someone without experience, without background, you're still going to get the job in 2 to 4 months, in most cases, potentially up to 6, those that have technical background might get the job much faster. That's the difference, okay? But you're still going to get the job even if you don't have the technical background like most of our graduates. No opportunities in Mississippi? Of course you have opportunities in Mississippi, just remote opportunities that you can use in other states and other cities. I'm not familiar very well with the market on Mississippi, in Mississippi, but I can tell you that you have most of the jobs being remote, so you can work from anywhere you want. Will the lesson on Agile cover making estimations and formulas? Well, I really hope that not, because Agile is a methodology and you just need to understand the basic idea of what it means, not dive too deep into it, and definitely without any formulas or estimations. Okay, cool. Let's see. Will the recording be emailed for those of us who have been in the class from the beginning? It will be emailed to you even if you were not in the class, just because it's going to be emailed to you anyway. So you can watch it anytime that works best for you. It's not only going to be emailed to you, but also it's going to appear in your learning management system. Let's see. And of course, you'll be able to watch and rewatch it. Will the recordings, yeah, I already answered that. How fast can you start applying for job? So you don't want to apply for jobs unless you are prepared well, and you're going to be prepared well after the lessons, after the internship, and after the mentorship. At the mentorship stage, the mentor will see how well you prepared, and if you're going to be prepared very well, of course, the mentor will help you with the resume, LinkedIn, instruction, support, and you will start the job search. How fast it's going to happen? Let's look on our timeline. Let's see. So you start 7 weeks lessons, 3.5 weeks of the internship, after which you start the 4+ weeks of the mentorship. So basically after 14-15 weeks, potentially, you can already start the job search. So that's how it looks. Now let's see what else. I'm a little lost. The money that I have already paid, what exactly is it covering? So, it's very hard to understand because I don't know how much you paid, what you paid for. But again, as I mentioned before, if you have any personal questions, you can email advisors@carreras.com. But if we gonna talk about the prices, we're just gonna see that if you paid 4,900, it's gonna be the upfront for manual QA program. If you pay the upfront bundle, it's gonna be manual QA plus the QA automation. If you took the credit option, it's going to be the manual QA program. I hope it makes sense now. Okay, cool. Let's see. Are we able to use the job application service and help with our mentor for future jobs after our first career, or do they only help for getting our first job? So the mentor is definitely going to help you with getting your first job, because once you get the job once, you can get it second time and third time and fourth time because you already know how to do that, right? In case that you will need our job application service for the job search, it's going to be free and open for you until you're going to need it. Okay. You also can use, of course, LinkedIn Jobs, Glassdoor, and Indeed, but our job application service is going to be available for you, of course. Since I sign up for manual QA and QA automation, when do I transition to QA automation? As I mentioned before, you want to finish manual QA program first, get the manual QA job, making the 65 to 100K salaries. And once you're already working in this field for at least a month or two, and you feel confident about what you're doing at work, that's when you can start learning QA automation. What is the role of QA lead pay? Well, it's probably between 90,000 to 170,000. Depends on the company, on the bonuses, on the industry, on the team, and many other aspects. Can I add automation classes later? Well, I'm sure that you can. I'm just not sure what's the price that's going to be, because the bundle is usually the best price. And that's why I highly recommend to choose the bundle option. But yes, of course, you will be able to take our automation program in the future as well separately. Just keep in mind that it's going to be much more than the difference that you see right now. Upfront, does it include the internship and the mentorship? Yes, of course. It is going to include both the internship and the mentorship and the support and the instructions all together. It's going to be in your manual QA program. How do students who have full-time employment able to successfully complete the internship? Very simple, because it's super flexible. So if you, in case that you're busy during the day, you can do it in the evening. In case that you're busy during the days and the evening, you can do it during the weekends. In case that you cannot do it in the morning or the evening, you can do it during lunchtime. You don't need to be there all day long. You can be there at least 2 hours per day, at least 5 days a week, until you have the 3.5 weeks. But I remind you that you can remain part of the internship until you get the job. So every week, every month of your job search, your experience will grow, and it could potentially be 2, 3, 4, 5 months, even up to 6 months of your job search. Usually it's 2 to 4 months, not hours, right? As a manual QA, on average, how many test cases a day do you have to complete? That's a great question. So it really depends, because sometimes it's going to be 20, sometimes it's going to be 30, sometimes it's going to be 0, sometimes it's going to be 10. So it really depends, and you usually do what you're told. Something normal is between 20 to 30 test cases per day. But again, if it's going to be something like super simple, like click the button, start, or stuff like that, it could be even more than 30. And sometimes it's going to be less. So it really depends. I can tell you that many times you can finish your tasks in less than 8 hours, and you're still going to be paid for 8 hours. Both contract jobs and full-time jobs going to be 8 hours per day, 5 days a week, 40 hours per week, in case you were wondering. What is the difference between manual QA and QA leads, the duties and the performance? Well, it's going to be a very long answer, but long story short, manual QA are doing what they're told, and QA lead sometimes thinks outside of the box. QA lead can assign maybe the assignments, the tickets, the test cases. QA lead going to be probably the one that's going to help you with writing the test plan, the one that's going to tell you which devices to test. In some companies, it's going to be the QA lead. In others, it's going to be the QA manager. In third, they're going to call it QA director. In fourth, they're going to call it something else. So it's really depends. I have 5 years of experience in industry as QA, but then I took a break, and now I apply again. Will I apply for junior QA or mid-level QA? Well, if you have 5 years of experience, you definitely don't want to apply to junior QA. And you definitely can get a mid-level QA, like the rest of our students that going to have 2 to 3, 4, 5 months of experience. You still going to get the job as mid-level QA, and you don't need 5 years for that. But the fact that you have 5 years, that's great. We're going to help you, of course, to edit your resume so it will look attractive, nice, friendly, and it will catch the attention from the companies. Is there a weekly test or a quiz? Well, we're going to have pretty much small quizzes after each lesson, but don't worry, it's going to be simple, straightforward. Will not take more than 15 minutes for most of you. When I say most of you, I mean like 90% of you will finish it in 10, 15 minutes. Of course, people are different, and for someone it might take a little longer, but for most of you, it will not. All right. Let's see, guys. If I choose credit option to pay for the classes, are we able to pay off early? I have no idea. You can email advisors@careers.com regarding that question. I truly don't know. If I live in Atlanta but apply for a job in New York, will I get the physical for New York or Atlanta? Pay scale. Pay scale. So basically, you're asking me where you're going to pay the taxes. So you're going to pay the taxes in your state. But I think that Justin actually understood it differently.
Yeah, I think they're trying to ask because New York City has a higher
pay
cost of
scale.
living.
I see.
Yeah.
The salary range. I see. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just thought that pay scale, it's a software for the salary or something. Okay. So if you're asking about the salary range, you can get the salary range that is there. So for example, you're applying in New York and they offer 100K, you can get the 100K even if you're in Atlanta and the average there is 80K. Okay, now of course you will have exceptions for that rule. Of course you will have certain companies that are going to adjust it based on where you live, but just certain companies. And many other companies, as long as you're going to do the job and you're going to be working remotely, they will not downgrade the salary because of your location. Okay, cool. I hope it answered your question. As a manual QA on average, I already answered that. I'm sorry. I already answered that as well. Atlanta, I already answered. I'm sorry, I was trying to read the message, but I didn't understand. Do you help students or help support students? That's who we are, right? That's what we do. We help students and we support students, and we also love our students. But is there a question? I just didn't understand. But
I think that's a two-part question. I think this right here is the first part. Are the professors like me available if you have questions and need support as a student?
Oh, I got it now. Okay. So I'm not sure that Justin is a professor yet, but definitely on the way to become one. We are instructors, we are experienced professionals, and we definitely gonna be supporting you, answering your questions during the lessons. I personally gonna be with you during the graduate meetings. After you graduate the program, we're gonna meet every Saturday until you get the job, and I will answer your questions and share with you my experience and knowledge, and we will discuss a lot of important topics. You're also gonna have a personal mentor that I personally mentored, and you definitely gonna get all the help and support that we can give you. And we definitely going to do our best to help you get this job as soon as possible. Once I start working as QA, can I be able to travel outside of the US and still work? So depends, right? And by the way, I want you to start answering questions always with "it depends," because as engineers, that's something that you should use. And here is going to be the same. It really depends, because one company going to tell you, no, we don't want you to travel anywhere. We don't want you to work outside of the office. Other company will tell you, you know what? I don't care. As long as you do the job, I don't care. Just do it from home or something. A third job going to tell you, I don't care. You can do it from wherever you want. You can go to a hostel, you can go to a hotel, you can go to any country that you want, and they don't have, I don't know, all kind of security issues related to your job, that you're not allowed to use your laptop on a Wi-Fi. I don't know, in a I don't know, in Philippines. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just telling you that Some companies going to care about where you are, and some companies will not. Some companies will check where you are, and some companies will not, because as long as you do your your duties and you do what you're told, and like you do your tasks, they don't really care where you are. They don't check like, are you at home today, are you in Georgia today? No, they don't do it. Maybe if you're going to change your view and they're going to see the Eiffel Tower from your window, they might ask some questions. That's why you want probably to close the window during the meetings. So let's see. Do you anticipate AI will take over automation QA? I have no idea if AI gonna take over the world and the robots gonna fight us. I don't know. I definitely know that there is a lot of AI generated code out there that someone needs to test, and that's gonna be us QA testers that gonna test this code, this functionality, the stuff that the AI gonna create. And I anticipate that we're gonna have much more jobs than ever before. So now we test software and hardware, and tomorrow we're going to test virtual reality glasses and drones and flying cars and immortality and a lot of awesome, cool stuff. So the idea is the same: to make sure that requirements were implemented, to make sure that everything looks, works, and feels good, and it's going to be relevant for many, many, many more years. Of course, in 20, 50 years, we're going to have AI and machines doing everything for us. We're just going to meditate, we're going to do yoga, and we just going to get our universal income, and we just going to, do some, yoga classes or something, and we just going to enjoy life. But until we get there, and probably it's going to take couple decades to get there, probably like, I don't know, 50 years or 60 years. Until then, we still can do a lot of money in tech, and I invite you to do it and get in tech. Can you please confirm the days and times of the class? Yes, of course. You also can always email advisors@careers.com and you will see that. But I just want to remind you one more time. It's Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I'm sorry about the grammar mistakes. It's Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time. And you know what? If this time doesn't work for you, that's great, because you can watch the video recording anytime that works best for you. What made Justin choose this field?
Sure. So I joined this field a long time ago, before like tech and everything was cool. Now everyone talks about tech and this and that. So tech is cool now. 7, 8, 9 years ago, it wasn't as popular, but it still paid well. So I'm like, I could get into this field that no one ever talks about and make a lot of money. It sounds win-win. And before, it was seen like as a prestige job, like, oh, you're into tech, you must be really smart. So I'm like, if I'm saying, oh, I do this in tech, they're like, you're a smart guy and make a lot of money. So I'm like, it's a win-win situation for me. I didn't grow up with no crazy experience like building computers, nothing like that. I didn't have any crazy background like that. I grew up playing sports. So being a manual QA engineer, you don't need a technical background. You can be a regular person, just learn a skill set and make a lot of money.
So, do most of these QA jobs offer hourly overtime? I don't think so. I don't really remember a lot of situations like that, but remember, I always start with it depends. So here I will say it depends. I believe that certain companies like Amazon and Netflix potentially could ask you to stay longer for overtime, and they're going to pay you a lot of money for that. Of course, some startups, in case that they need, they have like a lot of features, a lot of stuff to do, they might ask you to stay longer. But is it something popular? No, it's not, because I don't remember, more than like once twice a year that I was asked to stay longer. In my case, and I worked in 7 different companies. Now, maybe Justin saw something else and can share with us, but I can tell you from my experience that usually you have 50% jobs are contract jobs where you get paid for 8 hours per day, 5 days a week, and they don't want you to do it more than 8 hours. And other 50% going to be full-time job where you're still going to do 8 hours, 5 days a week, and you're going to be paid, basically, you're going to get the salary per year paid to you every 2 weeks. Yes, Justin, please.
So I worked on both sides as a regular salary 9 to 5 person and as a consultant contract worker. Whereas Max said, contract working, they don't like paying for overtime because you're getting like time and a half or extra time. But there was certain times for certain projects where like we need this done this week. So if it takes you guys 10, 12 hours a day, we're going to pay you guys the overtime for this short period to make sure that this week this project gets finished. But for the most part, it's just 8 hours in and out.
All right. Does the experience before the break from the job counts? Well, let's say sometimes if you have like 20 years of experience gap, it's a problem and you don't want to show it. If you have 15 years of gap, it's a problem, you don't want to show it. But if it's going to be a couple years, you can always explain the situation, right? If it's going to be like more than a couple years, like 5, 10 years, it's something that we need to look into together with your mentor and decide what's going to work best for you in your specific, very rare situation. Okay? I don't want you to think about it too much right now. I can definitely tell you that we're going to help you edit your resume and LinkedIn the best possible way for you. I think that if you do have a technical background, you want to show it, you want to mention it, especially in QA. How long is the introduction session today? So it's for 2 hours, and guess what? Just now we had 2 exactly hours. So basically the lesson is already, you already watched the lesson. Now we just stay a little longer to answer some of your questions because we have a lot of people with questions and we want to make sure that we answer everyone, okay? If I have to go, will I be getting the recordings? Of course, like every lesson, you're going to get the recordings to your emails and your LMS, learning management system. I've seen Selenium is very in-demand skill and higher paid jobs. Why is that? Because Selenium is a tool used in automation, and automation is in demand, and many companies are asking for automation. Just keep in mind that if they offer you less than $110,000, it means that they will not find someone who knows automation. And even if they ask for it in the job description, it means that they will not find this person because someone who knows automation will not talk to them for less than 110, 115,000. And if they offer you 70 or 80 or 90 or 100K and they ask you for Selenium, you still want to apply there, maximum they will tell you no. But you will see that no gets you yes, if you prepared well and if you follow our instructions. Is that the average salary for manual QA? Yes, of course, because if you see the average salary $78,000 for those that have less than 1 year of experience, almost $80,000 for QA. Now, remember I told you that if you know programming or coding or automation, you will not talk to anyone for less than 110. So the average of 78 is less than 100, which means that it's definitely not the average for the automation. It's the average for the manual. Cool. Do we have to attend every class or will they send the recording to our email? Yes, of course. I already answered that. I see that it was asked a long time ago. RQA jobs, contract jobs, or they full-time? So 50%, 50% that, 50% that, you will have both opportunities. Will these jobs pay for travel? Well, I worked for like 7 different companies. They never sent me to travel anywhere and they never paid for any travel. So I believe that some companies will do, but it's going to be probably very rare. Sometimes they're going to maybe gather somewhere, or they're going to call you for the headquarter or stuff like that. And in this case, yes, they're going to pay for the travel, but it's not something popular. Maybe it's more popular for other professions, maybe in sales, maybe in some other fields. But in QA, usually we don't really travel much. But exceptions happen, and I'm sure that some of you are gonna get a job where you will need maybe to travel from time to time. If we cannot attend the live lessons and have questions, how and where do we post questions? So first of all, you can email us at support@careers.com, and also you have a Slack channel where you're gonna get answers to your questions from the support team. In contract job, do we get paid for the holidays? So usually not. Usually you get paid for the holidays at the full-time jobs. But sometimes you get a contract job that pays you much more than a full-time job, so just follow the money in this case, okay? So for example, you get a full-time job paying you 70K. With the benefits and everything, it looks like 80. But you will find sometimes a contract job that's going to give you 55 per hour, which is 110K. So what is better? It depends. If you look on the money, it's going to be the contract. If you look on maybe long-term, staying longer, more stable, it's probably going to be the full-time. But, it's for you to decide. How often do you get pay raises when you hired? Well, usually it's a tradition to raise the salary after a year on certain amount of percentage, like, I don't know, 5% a year. But this is the boring, traditional way. We're going to teach you how to get much more, because once you're going to get a salary, let's imagine 70K, we're going to teach you not to stay too much time on 70K, and we're going to teach you, once you're going to be confident what you're doing, to continue the job search asking for 80K or 90K or 100K. And once you get the 80K, you will be able to apply for other jobs asking for 90K and other jobs for 100K. And guess what? You will get the 100K and the 90K, and there is no difference between 65K and 105K. In both cases, you will do same type of job. Is it true we can get a refund if we cannot find a job within 1 year? It depends. If you're gonna follow the instructions, if you're gonna be in touch with the mentor, you're gonna do the lessons, you're gonna join the internship, you're gonna do the mentorship, you're gonna be in touch, you're gonna be applying for jobs, you're gonna be actively applying, you're gonna be prepared well for the interview, you will get the job in 2 to 4 months, sometimes up to 6, and you will not have this question after 1 year, because there is no reason for that. You will get the job, right? But theoretically, yes, if you will follow all of our instructions, be prepared well, and actively apply for jobs, and you will not get the job in tech within 1 year, you will get your 100% money back guarantee. Please read all the details, all the details on our websites. Refund eligibility requirements include but not limited to whatever I read before, and see full details on our website, please. What do you mean by contract job? Well, I mean the contract job where you just paid per hour and you work 8 hours per day, 5 days a week. It could be 3 months contract, it could be 6 month contract, it could be 1 year contract, it could be 3 month contract that where you're gonna stay for, I don't know, 20 years, right? It's gonna start with 3 months and it could stay much longer, right? But usually, traditionally, the contracts are 1 year, 6 months, 2 years. But again, really depends. Sometimes the contract is gonna become a full-time. So it really depends. Sometimes you come to a full-time job and you expect to be there for many years, but then something happened and the company closes the project. So it's really depends. And if you're not sure what contract job is, just Google it. When are the quizzes due after each class? Well, it's like 15 minutes at the end of the lesson, not something that's going to take a lot of time. And if you watch the recording, you can do it, of course, in your time. How many job offers do you see on average? You mean like for one person? So usually one, but sometimes you have people that prepare very well and they get 2 job offers, 3 job offers. It also depends on the time of the market. Right now, we see a slowdown. Just before, let's say, November, we had people getting multiple job offers. Now it's a little bit less, just because there is certain slowdown in the industry, but still, of course, graduates are getting the jobs. It just means that if before they could get few job offers, now they usually get 1 job offer, for example. Of course, they will get more job offers if they continue the job search, right? How much did you guys make in your first QA career? So after basically my first internship was like $9 per hour. I worked there for like 3 months, and when I understood that I'm wasting time and effort, I started applying, and boom, I got my $30 per hour job. After 2 months there, I negotiated and got 35 per hour, which equals like 70K. I was very happy. It was my first couple months in the US. Okay, so my English was not perfect, and I worked there for almost a year. At the end of the year, I was already making around 90K. Now, I don't want you to repeat my mistakes. I want you to learn from my mistakes. I don't want you to waste your time on $9 per hour or $10 or $20 or $25 per hour. I want you to get 35, 40 per hour from your first job. Of course, if you accept 65K, it's your choice, and I cannot blame you. It's okay. But you definitely can get 70, 75, 80. And the reason we created this program is for you to avoid the mistakes that we used to have during our career, at the beginning of our career. Okay. So I hope that it answered your question, Jordan. Will our mentors be available to help us with future resumes and LinkedIn? Yes, of course. That's one of the reasons you're going to have a mentor. But first, we want to make sure that you sound and prepared well. After you're going to get your first career, okay, so the question is, do we going to help you with the resume and LinkedIn after you got the first job for the second job? I think that once you're going to have the perfect resume and you're going to get the job, you will be able to use the same resume to get the second job. All you need is just to add the new position, or sometimes even not to add it. But yes, of course, your mentor will be happy to help you and support you even after you got the job, with suggestions, with recommendations. Yes, we're definitely going to be here for you. I'm sorry, Justin, you want to add something?
So yeah, your first job will be the hardest to get, but once you have experience in like LinkedIn and stuff like that, recruiters will reach out to you even if you're not looking for jobs. Like every day I have recruiters in my inbox and emails saying, "Hey, this opportunity will be a good fit for your experience. Do you want this job?" I'm not even applying for jobs. So if I actually try to find jobs, it's so much easier once you have experience. So folks will get your foot in the door first, and then after that, it's very easy.
Right. Awesome. So, guys, as I said before, I don't want you to waste your time on $9 per hour or $20 per hour. I want you to get the 35 to 50 per hour. We're going to teach you how to do that. We're going to help you with the real experience that you're going to get during the program, during your job search. Your experience will grow, because whenever I got my internship, I didn't have real on-hand experience to show. That's the reason that I got this $9 per hour. I was not able to show real on-hand experience that if I had it, I would be able to get the 35 to 50 per hour. How many hours does it take to complete the average caseload of 20, 30 test cases? Well, it depends. Sometimes it will take 1 hour. Sometimes it will take 30 minutes. Sometimes it will take 8 hours. Sometimes it will take 3 days. It depends on the test cases, on the product, on the complexity, on the steps, and many other things. Okay? Cool. Awesome. Guys, if you're going to have any more questions, please don't be shy. Email advisors@careers.com. We would love to answer your questions. Thank you very much for being with us, and see you soon on lesson number 2.
Good night, guys.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.